Our speaker today is Joy Talley, one of the most popular psychics in Virginia Beach. We actually have something in common. Both Joy and I are originally from Southern Ontario. So if you think Joy's a little strange, or you think I'm a little strange, probably something in the water. You know, Joy is one of the few metaphysical people who is well known beyond the metaphysical community. Now, she's been a practicing psychic in Virginia Beach for many decades, so it's not surprising she's known around the Fellowship and the ARE and Heritage and so on. But she's known way beyond that. You can attend a gathering of real estate agents or city employees, anybody, and someone will say, "Oh yeah, Joy Talley, I saw her." Now, you have to be careful though, because anytime you meet her, not necessarily in her office, you might somehow get a reading. It just seems to happen. But I warn you, she won't always tell you what you want to hear. But I guarantee she'll always tell you what you need to hear. So please welcome Virginia Beach's most trusted psychic, Joy Talley.
I've thought a lot about, well, not too much, but about what I would talk about today, and I'm getting inspired by some of the things that happened. And my original thought is to talk about law of cause and effect, and how we're raised in a certain environment. This year has been very challenging for me, and it just seems like whatever could go wrong did go wrong, like a flood under my house. And but I got through it with challenges. And my father died in 1991, and I had some real challenges growing up, understanding his personality. He came to me this year, which was very liberating in a lot of ways. And he helped me to understand why he was the way he was. He was the 12th child born in a machine family. Well, anyway, during the talk, I understood my resentments or anger towards him was hurting me. And I got to really get to feel, even though he's in spirit, a connection with him and a healing. And I learned through this that forgiveness is the key that unlocks our handcuffs to anger, resentment, bitterness, disappointment. And when I knew 3 people this week that lost their jobs. And if they can get an attitude, a setback is a setup for a comeback. And now they're open to find jobs they can be really happy with. But if they continue to blame people, places, and things for what happened to them, then they're stuck in the past and not free to grow. And so we all have scripts. And I feel your favorite nursery rhyme, fairy tale, when you were a child, tells you the script you've chosen for yourself. And doctors attract patients, teachers attract pupils, policemen attract wrongdoers, buyers attract sellers, givers attract takers. And if you look at what your script is, you can actually predict the people that'll come into your life. And if you meet somebody that's always angry and you react with anger, you give them the power to tell you should you have a good day or bad day. You give them the power to tell you how to feel. I've been telling young parents with children that make bad grades or they're disruptive, when they bring their report card home, instead of criticizing, you could do better, instead, ask them, how do you feel about your grades? And how do you feel about what you want to do to proceed from this day forth? You know, procrastinate. I want to tell you, you talked about somebody getting a divorce. People, getting married is easy. I'm getting lost here. Getting married is easy. Being married isn't easy. We worry about meeting the right person when we have to be the right person. The 3 sides to every marriage is his side, her side, and the truth. When you look back, people who make a decision to get married get divorced. People that make a commitment to marriage stay married. When you get married, the most important question you want to ask, can I love this person, be happy with them exactly as they are? What you don't like before you get married, you multiply by 100. It's an illusion to think you can remold or make someone. And the script some of us have is loser's limp. Whatever goes wrong, it's because they have brown eyes instead of green eyes, or red hair instead of blonde hair. And as long as you have a loser's limp, you give up the right to change. So after talking to my father, it's made me look at all my relationships. And with children, my daughter will be 60 on Monday. And we were talking about 60, and I was 40 when my mother died. And she's now going into a new career. She has a new beginning, and it's really, really exciting. And when she was born, I tried to nurse her, and my milk wasn't any good, and I was starving her. And I don't know why she brought it up, but she asked me when I finally took her to the doctor, did I give her cow's milk? And it was Similac. But she was, for whatever reason, interested in what I fed her. And she's been very motivated, food, eating healthy. You know, she's been in the health field most of her life, exercise and nutrition. Now she's going to go into hypnosis to help people regress to go why they're hanging on to their habits. If you've ever thought about this, procrastination is always the enemy of good luck. And if you happen to be a procrastinator, if you could eat a live frog for breakfast, and I mean, it's pretty horrible eating a live frog, I would think. And after that, everything will be a piece of cake. And it can kind of cure you from it. And if one live frog don't do it, eat 2 live frogs and eat the ugliest one first. But it's good to look at our patterns. If you want your future different than your past, in psychic readings, I take the month, day, and year of birth, and it works out to a number. And this year is a year of changes for Capricorns, and in July, Aquarius. But, you know, and that's normally how it works out. But it's not working out this way this year. It seems like no matter what sign you are, expect the unexpected. You know, you're going to get a curveball. It's just, I don't know where the planets are, where the world's going, but it's weird. And I guess to survive, we have to be weird. And I tell people, if you're ever in doubt about making a decision, always the 2 questions we want to ask, would God approve? Or do you want to read about it on the front page of the morning paper? When you get a yes to both of that, you can move ahead without fear, frustrations, or anxieties. My youngest daughter, who's a Gemini, is thinking of leaving, retiring from Macy's and going into a new business. But she's been talking some fear. The acronym for fear is false expectations appearing real. And she knows that you have to replace fear with faith. And, I mean, she has, her house is paid for, she has $400,000 in her whatever. She's not destitute, and she has 2 rentals. But it's still, she gives up health insurance that they help pay for. And if you dwell on what you're giving up instead of what you're acquiring, you're stuck in a rut. The only difference between a rut and a grave is a couple of feet. And we do dig ourselves in the rut. And, you know, she knows about having an attitude of gratitude. And so there's a loser's limp. There's the Red Cross rescue worker, is a person that gives 195%. The only way anybody can give 195% is to attract a person that takes 195%. If a person takes all the time, then they feel guilty for taking, resentful of the fact they feel guilty, and the giver ends up being the SOB. This happens. I read this woman, and she's in her early 30s, has 4 children by 3 different fathers, has never worked, lives on the government food stamps, and she hates the United States of America. She said, I can't wait to leave this country. She wants to go to South Africa. And I said, I'm sure there's problems in South Africa. She said, it's the media in this country that only shows you bad parts of other countries, that they have a lot of good in Africa. I was just thinking to myself, I didn't say this, I think the sooner you go, the better. The government will save all this money. But what we don't like in others, there's something in us that we have to change. And this, when my dad came, this was the first time I've seen my mother, sister, brothers, but this is the first time since he died that he ever came to me in spirit. And I guess he thought, now that I'm 83, that I'm ready for a healing. And, sometimes, when you get sick, you don't ask yourself, what is the matter with me, but who is the matter with me? And for a lot of my peculiarities, I feel it was my dad. And, but now I'm healed from that. There's the Red Cross rescue worker. And Red Cross rescue workers, if they would go into the medical field and do all the nurturing by healing people, then they wouldn't have to give their life savings to their kids or marry dysfunctional men if they're women, or men marry dysfunctional women. And but you have to first, before we can change any of our habits, we have to learn why we establish them. And the only way anybody's future can be different than their past if they're different. Like, I've learned this years ago, the day you can say, I'm fully responsible for my unhappiness, is the day you can say, I'm fully responsible for my happiness. When we blame people, places, and things, we give up the right to change. And did you know it's a big habit for people to blame people, places, and things? And some of the other habits is givers attract takers. There are men that are chubby chasers, and they're always choosing to marry a chubby woman. I don't know if this is always accurate. I don't think we can ever say one thing is 100% true. But what it did show over the years that I've been doing this, chubby chasers, if they smoke cigarettes, sometimes are child predators. And if they don't smoke, they're not. And I don't get the whatever, but that's what my experiences have been. But if you know a chubby chaser, don't accuse him, because he might not be the one. How we think determines how we act determines how others react to us. That's why it's good, and I do this periodically, and so does my friend Richard doing processing, getting a checkup from the neck up every few months to see if you have hardening of the attitudes. It's so easy in life to get stinking thinking instead of an attitude of gratitude. And I have a daughter-in-law that works at Virginia Beach Centera, and she said that this man came in, he swallowed a Viagra and it was stuck in his throat. And he woke up in the morning with a stiff neck. I just thought I'd put that in. We're full of challenges. But did you know that some people get married 3-4 times and they always marry the same type of man? And you wonder, when do you get it? Eat a live frog and you'll get it. I guess it's possible to eat a live frog. And I'm learning as I get, the challenges of getting older is you get smarter. And you want to fix everybody, but unless a person is willing to change, like your friend's getting a divorce, you go through denial, anger, bargaining, and acceptance. The steps to recovery is you admit that it's over, accept it, adapt, and adjust. Before you can get to the admitting stage, you have to leave the denial stage. But if you're attached and you get a divorce, you're attached to whatever the situation was, you're going to repeat it over and over again till you learn the attachment. And I think marriage is great. I'm single now after 55 years. I'm so happy. I'd go to bed when I want. I'd get up when I want. I can do whatever. It's liberating. When you're younger, your parents tell you what to do. When you get older, your kids tell you what to do. So you're always in between somebody's whatever. My kids are they're great kids. And my oldest daughter lives in Huntsville, Alabama, which is just very, very beautiful. And she said that the economy's picking up there with the government big there. And so she thinks it's going to get better here. And she's pretty intuitive, so we're all hoping for that. When you go to work, you're at your best energy level. You're feeling your best. Everybody at work sees you at the best part of your life. When you come home, you're the wet dish rag. Everybody sees you at the hardest part of your life. So if you don't love your job, you screw up the whole day. And if you can't change the situation, change the attitude. It's amazing how many people don't like their boss. And if you can mentally picture an angel on their shoulder, smile at the angel, they might think you're weird, but smiles really help. And if you understand, why am I reacting this way, and work on changing yourself. I learned a long time ago that it's good to get a divorce from yourself and permission to be happy, because we only create our own happiness or our unhappiness. When a lot of times people say, I don't believe in God. And I say, when you turn the light switch on, do you believe the lights will come on? Because that's faith. If you go to bed in the dark and you wake up and it's sunshine or light, then that's faith. So everybody has some kind of faith. And my belief system is what we believe in God is what we believe in ourselves. And as our faith and trust in our God grows, our faith and trust in ourselves grow. And this has been a year of re-evaluation for me. And by looking at your past and seeing the down parts in your life and the up parts and what precipitated it, and if you don't like the events, then you have to change your behavior. We can't look for other people to make us happy. If we do, we're always going to be disappointed. And in doing psychic readings, people have auras, and auras change constantly. And sometimes you see spirits in auras. But when a person dies, it generally takes a while. Takes ectoplasm, I think is how you pronounce it, to materialize. And I think we can get impressions from them, but generally they have to be in spirit a while before they can really communicate. Or that's been my experience. Maybe other people have different experiences. I feel we can all communicate with spirits. On both sides of my family, they were psychics, and they saw spirits. And so when we were raised, growing up, I had 2 sisters and a brother. They, just talked to them. Some people think it's goofy or weird, but I think if you're a psychic, you are weird. Or if you're a Canadian, you're weird. Whatever. So Lloyd and I are on the same page. But this is, I don't feel it matters which sign you're under this year. I think it's very, very important to become aware. How you think determines how you act. How you act determines how others react to you. So if you can periodically get a checkup from the neck up to see if you have hardening of the attitudes, it really helps. I do it over and over again throughout my lifetime. And every night before I go upstairs, I write down in my journal 5 things that I am grateful for. And you can't have stinking thinking and an attitude of gratitude at the same time. So having an attitude of gratitude really helps. And the people that cause us the most pain teaches us the most lessons. And growing up, that was my father, and my brother. My brother drank, they had a machine shop, he drank, it was in a milk bottle, boiler compound, and he was fed through his stomach for 2 years and 4 months and had 34 surgeries on his throat. So it was an interesting time then, because parents were always running to the hospital. And he did some pranks on the nurses too, but hopefully he overcame that. He stayed in Canada and I came here. I feel that practical jokes are cruelty, mental cruelty. My husband was a practical joker, and I would talk to him, please don't do that. And he didn't listen to me. But we have selective hearing. I'm trying to think of some of the other scripts that we're born with. My mind took a rest because it took a blank out. Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, right. My kidneys are weak. If I drink water, I have to take a run. And so I watch what I drink before I come out. And God is good and God is great. And I feel that life is a learning, it's a learning journey. My goal is to work till February the 6th, 2031. I'll be 100 that day. And not that you have to die at 100, but that you can retire at 100. And so then I'm going to just kind of do whatever I want to do, which I do now anyway. But I have found people that retire too soon. Sometimes they get depressed, they get health problems, and unless they have lots of hobbies and interest and everything, I'm sure you've all heard the expression, if you don't use it, you lose it. And we have to practice our mind and learning and growing. So if anybody in here thinking about retiring too early, you might want to think about reinventing yourself, redirecting your energies, and finding a career you're passionate, excited, enthusiastic about. We're going to Nashville in May, and my daughter's taking a class on embroidery, and that's what she plans on doing. She went to upholstery school the last couple of years, And she's thinking, well, she recovered her couch twice in 2 years. Can you believe that? She picked out the material, great big 7-foot couch. She recovered it, then decided she didn't like the material that she picked out. So her last vacation, she recovered it in 3 days and did a wonderful job, but she's thinking that embroidery will be better, so she's now going to learn embroidery. And I feel, they do embroidery for a lot of things, and she's kind of concerned about, can she earn a living, will she be happy, normal stuff. The 3 categories employment falls under is manufacturing, sales, or service. So before you go into a career, it's good to think about which category are you best suited for. And the key to success for anybody is to find a need and fill it. You can, am I going over? Are we, I am going over? Oh, well, I'll just finish this and then we'll stop. To find a need and fill it, you can have anything you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want. It takes persistence, perseverance, and perspiration. Is somebody supposed to ring the bell? Huh? Oh, you're ringing. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to keep you all over, but I like running my mouth. Pardon? All right. Is that okay? Okay. Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.